what a strange system this was. The history of video game consoles worldwide is a rich and diverse topic. In fact, it's a much more varied topic than most people give it credit for. Sure, most will be familiar with the rise and fall of Atari, the legendary console wars between Sega and Nintendo, and the rise of the Sony PlayStation and Xbox brands. But the story doesn't merely end there. There are plenty of wild tales for us console connoisseurs to enjoy, such as the ascent of many infamous Famiclone variants and expensive failures of epic proportions, such as the 3DO Philips CDI and Amiga CD32. As cool as each of these chapters in history may be, today we are going to turn our attention to a platform that is arguably even stranger and in some ways more ambitious than all of these. As the thumbnail suggests, I am of course talking about the Zeebo, a crazy console that was created that would compete exclusively south of the US border. So join me as we discuss the history of this sentimental system, look at why it exists and what brought it to the table, and ultimately why it failed to become a conquering console. I am Lady Decade, and this is the curious case of the Zeebo. To understand the history of the Zeebo console, we have to first turn our attention to Brazil, or more specifically Tectoy, a Brazilian toy and electronics company who are now well known in the story of gaming for bringing both the Sega Master System and Sega Mega Drive to Brazil. In fact, in a hilarious twist, not only did they bring the platforms to the country, but they continue to sell modern iterations of both systems to this very day, now existing as dedicated plug-and-plays. Through this long period of success, they once held an 80% market share of the entire Brazilian video game market, with their Sega console sales still rivaling Microsoft, Nintendo and Sony in the region. Technically, this means that in Brazil, the Sega Nintendo console war is still ongoing. While it is both awesome and hilarious that they've been selling Sega consoles forever, in this episode we will obviously be focusing on something even more unique, a 100% original console with its own library of games and ecosystem, the Zeebo. But how did this platform come about? This brings us to a gentleman named Ronaldo Normand, an individual who served at Tectoy Mobile working for their gaming division. Fortunately, a fact sheet provided by Zeebo Incorporated provides us with all the information we need to know to ascertain why this console was created and its goals in its development phase. Ronaldo Normand would notice a growing demand for an affordable interactive education and entertainment system within planet Earth's emerging global market. Mike Yuen of Qualcomm Wireless Technology would also identify this gap in the market and would develop the initial idea for a new console. Both Qualcomm and Tectoy would contribute to investing in this idea, contributing to the creation of Zeebo Incorporated, the company that would create this bizarre contraption. According to their mission statement, Zeebo Incorporated was founded in 2007 to bring high-quality interactive home entertainment and education to the 800 million middle-class consumers in Latin America, Asia, and Eastern Europe. To succeed in these markets, Zeebo Incorporated believed interactive systems needed to overcome several barriers, including the need to provide compelling user experiences that would support a diverse range of content. They would also outline that they wanted to produce hardware that offered games and educational applications to social networking and music, while simultaneously hitting a very affordable price point to build a large consumer base in regions where there is less money to throw around. Zeebo Incorporated felt to be successful, they would need to circumvent the rampant piracy that had resulted in a lack of support by content providers in emerging markets, along with the scarcity of legally available localized applications. Pair all of this with providing a platform that would be an extremely simple, trouble-free purchase that delivered new content, and Zeebo Incorporated felt they were onto a winner. Sounds good on paper, but let's take a look to see how they planned to take on such challenges. Zeebo Incorporated would claim that their product was the first affordable high-quality entertainment system released in Brazil. It would aim to foster the creation of localized content by preventing piracy through secure wireless delivery. Zeebo Incorporated would brag that their console was supported by many of the leading content providers who offer localized versions of top properties, which users could access via a quick and easy home shopping experience. The platform supported the delivery of a broad range of content, including educational applications, multimedia entertainment, social networking, and 3D gaming. According to official documentation, the Zeebo system is based on Qualcomm's Brew solution, enabling secure mobile content, which would be paired together with proprietary hardware, software, and user interface technologies. The system used what was known as the ZeeboNet wireless network, which automatically connected with ZeeboNet via a broadband wireless cellular service. Networking was completely transparent to the user and no service plan was required. According to the company themselves, ZeeboNet provided a convenient and legal way for users to get compelling content, buying and downloading the latest offerings from the comfort of their couches in minutes, and an easy, secure channel for game publishers and developers to distribute and promote their content to consumers. A large library of entertainment titles and applications were created for the Brew solution and were rapidly ported to the Zeebo system. Additionally, the Zeebo system was updated automatically over the air, preventing obsolescence. Further outlining their planned road to success, Zeebo Incorporated would state that they were working closely with local partners in countries around the world to market and sell the Zeebo system. In some cases, local partners were planned to also manufacture the hardware, offering further cost reductions and regional participation in the Zeebo ecosystem. They would also add they planned the limited deployment of the Zeebo system was scheduled for Brazil by the end of 2008, with the system being marketed and sold by Zeebo's Brazilian partner, the legendary Tectoy. The company Zeebo Incorporated is credited for pioneering the introduction of digital gaming in Brazil and selling millions of 2D game consoles in the Brazilian market. The Zeebo system was officially unveiled during a keynote speech at the Game Developer Conference GDC in March 2009. It made its initial debut in Brazil, becoming available in limited quantities in Rio de Janeiro on June the 1st, 2009. The Zeebo extended its presence to Sao Paulo in October 2009 and was subsequently launched nationwide across Brazil in November. Expanding its presence in December 2009, the Zeebo was introduced across Mexico, marking a nationwide launch. Zeebo Incorporated's Brazilian subsidiary Zeebo Brasil oversaw development and marketing activities in Brazil, while in Mexico, development and marketing were managed by Zeebo Incorporated's Mexican subsidiary Zeebo Mexico. That's right, a country built a console and said the Mexicans were going to pay for it. Tremendous. Huge. As for the Brazilian launch, according to the BizBuzz blog, the Zeebo quickly became available for sale in more than 200 retailers located across the sexy city of Rio de Janeiro, before eventually distribution would be spread wider across the nation. They would add that each unit would become equipped with 3 pre-installed games, offering users the option to download 3 additional titles at no extra cost. The suggested retail price for the Zeebo console was the equivalent of $249, which was nearly 1/3 the price of the leading mainstream consoles sold in Brazil. The system, I must add, was crazy expensive due to the draconian taxation surrounding foreign electronics that plagues Brazil's consumers to this very day. John F. Rizzo, CEO of Zeebo, remarked, "Brazil, a knowledgeable gaming market, is the ideal place to introduce the Zeebo gaming console and its entirely wireless distribution system. The system offers an intuitive, fast and user-friendly home shopping experience with culturally tailored content from top game publishers worldwide. It also provides significant value and warranty protection compared to grey market alternatives." That's right, who needs an evil Famiclone when you can have a Zeebo? As for the 3 pre-installed games we just mentioned, these are FIFA 2009, Need for Speed Carbon and Brain Challenge by Gameloft. theft. As for the downloadable freebies, these would include Pray Evil by 3D Realms/Machineworks, as well as Quake 1 and Quake 2 by id Software. All the better for locals, each of these titles was localized to Portuguese, making them easy to follow. Around the hardware's launch window, Wired.com would publish an article on the platform referring to it as the generation's fourth available game console, placing it side by side with the Xbox 360, PS3 and Nintendo Wii. They would comment that the Zeebo's digital distribution would allow the console to tailor its content to the specific market where it would be sold. Nations with stricter censorship laws would be likely to see fewer first-person shooters and more educational and informative titles. Furthermore, it would empower local independent game developers to create and sell their own games, creating a unique opportunity for culturally diverse storefronts to flourish. They would conclude that while the success of the console was uncertain, the combination of an affordable price tag and a solid strategy to combat content theft made the Zeebo an enticing prospect for publishers and developers seeking a fresh new audience. Looking back at this, it's easy to see why so many people thought that things were going to be coming up Millhouse for the Zeebo. Building on the rise of the Zeebo, PR Newswire would comment on the Mexican launch of the hardware. Reporting from Mexico City, they noted that the Zeebo arrived boasting a presence in over 2,000 stores across the country, with them claiming that the hardware would revolutionize family experiences, offering effortless wireless access to video games, educational content, and the charm of an internet cafe, all within the comforts of home. Priced at approximately the equivalent of $189, they would add that the Zeebo in the region would come with 5 complimentary games, a full-sized keyboard, and 1 hour of free internet access. Furthermore, it included a Z credit card for reloading the system, simplifying game and internet time purchases. John Rizzo, president and CEO of Zeebo Incorporated, emphasized the platform's cost effectiveness, offering Mexican consumers a compelling alternative to personal computers and traditional video game systems. The Zeebo is priced at 33% lower than its closest video game counterpart, featuring 100% localized Spanish content, which, according to them, was a 400% increase over other game devices. They would also add that using the Zeebo at home would offer users internet access that was 600 times faster than slow internet bandwidth in Mexican internet cafes, offering a more cost-effective solution. Continuing to hype up the benefits of the Zeebo, they would comment that it consumes 98% less electricity than a combination of video game systems and a personal computer, further enhancing its economic appeal in Mexico. Franz Elizondo, head of operations at Zeebo Incorporated, stated that he believes the Zeebo would redefine family entertainment in Mexico, providing quality time for parents and children in the comforts of their homes. That's a lot of reasons to want a Zeebo, and since we have a Mexican one right here, let's unbox it. Okay, let's get this open. So we've got 2 USB ports at the front, an SD card slot. I imagine that's probably for memory and games to go on there. Another USB, there's the charging bit there, and composite. Feels alright. Oh, alien plug! Oh, these foreign plugs always look strange. Oh, and obviously composite wires for the telly. Oh, Zeebo cards. So apparently these count as a currency. And this one's still got a barcode on the back of it, but whatever the barcode was on this one has been torn off. Keyboard, obviously for browsing the internet. Feels alright, just feels like a laptop keyboard, to be honest with you. Foreign language! Let's see what these are in the bottom. The manual. Okay, and this must have been what those 2 currency cards were attached to. So it says here, juega, which I think means play. Aprende, which I think means learning. Oh, and there was one other thing I spotted on here as well. It says on the bottom here, diseñado en California, which I think literally just means designed in California, which makes it sound a bit more posh. Or woke. Is the Zeebo woke? As you can see from all of this, aesthetically both in design and appeal, a lot of influence for the Zeebo's design appears to have been drawn directly from the Nintendo Wii, something that makes a lot of sense considering the mass market success of Nintendo's little motion control console. Speaking of the way this hardware looks, I love that when you power it on, the Zeebo logo glows brightly in a vivid blue, offering up a great visual appeal. As promising and ambitious as the whole Zeebo plan was, one would hope that things would go well for Zeebo Incorporated. However, despite a creative business idea and mission statement, the reality is that the Zeebo was set to achieve abysmal sales results. Which, when we bear in mind the part of the world that this hardware was made for, it raises the question, why? Well, the Zeebo might have sounded good on paper, being a system that was cheaper than both the Xbox 360 and PS3, but there was another platform that Zeebo Incorporated simply couldn't compete with, a little system from the previous generation known as the PlayStation 2. You know, the hardware which has achieved the most home console sales in history. When you could choose between the PlayStation 2 with its rich library of games or the quirky Zeebo with its mobile-like games for roughly the same price, the Brazilian and Mexican public voted with their wallets and all supported the PlayStation 2 instead. Beyond the smallish library of mobile-like games, other limitations held the Zeebo back, such as the fact that the console only had 1 GB of flash memory. Further to this, even though the system was newly released in 2009, it offered no HDMI support and only ran at 640 by 480. Pretty poor resolution even back then. Just 3 months after the hardware's Mexican launch, the platform, with its at the time paltry library of just 29 games, would receive a price reduction. But this wasn't enough to save the Zeebo, as things would only spiral and get worse from there. In 2010, the console faced a gaming drought until April, when it saw the arrival of 7 Data East titles, including classics like Bad Dudes and Super Burger Time. However, during this time, the popular games Quake 1 and Quake 2 and Need for Speed were also pulled from the storefront. These developments signalled a challenging period, prompting Tectoy to explore new strategies. So, what would be undertaken to reverse this hardware's cruel fate? Zeebo Incorporated would look to the Wii influence we mentioned earlier, meaning that in addition to the regular controller I have already shown off, known as the Z-Pad, Tectoy Brasil would also sell what is known as the Boomerang controller, a wireless pad with a built-in accelerometer that used motion sensing technology, meaning users could play with games with actual physical gestures, much like the Wii itself. Reportedly, not very well though. Qualcomm, one of Zeebo Incorporated's backers, would be incredibly displeased with all of these failings, as they had hoped the Zeebo brand would evolve into more than just a game console, hoping they could establish an ecosystem akin to Apple's, encompassing all sorts of different devices running on the Brew operating system. Zeebo, however, clearly fell short of their ultimate objectives. Throughout all of this hardship, Tectoy attempted to establish an in-house game development studio that released a series of sports games. However, on the 31st of May 2011, an announcement was made that spelt the end for the Zeebo. It was revealed that ZeeboNet would be shutting down in September of the same year in both Brazil and Mexico. On this day, according to the company statement, all games were set to experience a price reduction and ZeeboNet 3G would remain operational until September. Furthermore, all warranty services would be announced to be upheld. The exact number of Zeebo consoles sold during its existence remains a mystery. Estimates vary wildly, ranging from 30,000 to 160,000 units. It's also unclear whether these figures pertain solely to Brazil or encompass worldwide sales. Perhaps the most tragic element of the Zeebo story of all, though, isn't the fact that the console failed, but that it was a digital-only platform where efforts have been made to make titles on the Zeebo incredibly difficult to pirate. This means that games were an extreme curiosity value, such as the port of Resident Evil 4 on the system, or, shockingly, its amazing looking exclusive Double Dragon game, which is incredibly difficult to be able to play today, as not only must you track down an irritatingly rare Zeebo, but even if you do, it's unlikely to have the exact games you want already downloaded onto the hardware. Mine has Tekken 2, Pac-Mania and a few others for example, but the likes of Double Dragon are nowhere to be seen. ROMs of all of the games and the dev tools can be easily located online, but sadly the process of getting them to run on the Zeebo is a complex one, with even techie people I've spoken to explaining that it is extremely technical getting them to run. So, does this mean that the Zeebo library is lost to most of us forever? Well, fortunately this doesn't appear to be the case. In August of this year, GamesRadar.com reported that 12 years after this obscure console's death, the Zeebo lives again. They would document that a Zeebo emulator is currently in very early development, courtesy of a developer who goes by the name of Tuxality. While it has not yet been publicly released, their YouTube video demonstrates them booting Crash Bandicoot's Nitro Kart 3D, albeit with some graphical corruption. Perhaps even more exciting, checking out their YouTube channel, it seems they have uploaded gameplay footage of them emulating that coveted Double Dragon game that so many retro gamers out there are beyond desperate to try for themselves. Tuxality notes that while all seems very promising, there is still a lot, I really mean a lot, of hard and time-consuming work to be done, as well as implementing and fixing brew interfaces that should make more games working, such as Quake for Zeebo, depending on the progress. The Zeebo may not have achieved widespread recognition in the gaming industry, but it remains a fascinating and innovative piece of gaming history. Its unique approach to providing affordable gaming experiences in emerging markets and its emphasis on digital distribution were ahead of their time. While the Zeebo ultimately faced numerous challenges that led to its downfall, it serves as a reminder of the dynamic and ever-evolving nature of the world of console gaming. The Zeebo's legacy extends beyond its hardware. It demonstrated the potential of digital distribution and the importance of understanding the needs and preferences of specific gaming markets. As we reflect on the Zeebo, we can appreciate the bold vision of its creators and the valuable lessons it offers both the gaming industry and entrepreneurs looking to make their mark in the world of technology, and a warning regarding the importance of video game preservation to all of us. If you have any thoughts or experiences related to the Zeebo, please feel free to share them in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and why not check out my recent upload of the Dido family system.